Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly, joined by Akeem Bale, and this is the Real Sports Talk. Game 2 of the NBA Finals, Akeem. We are on here after the Heat took control of this game in the third quarter and blew the Spurs out. Today the scripts were flipped, largely thanks to Danny Green and Gary Neal, who were huge tonight. They helped the Spurs to set an NBA Finals record for amount of threes made in a game with 16. And really, Akeem, I'm going to go over a rundown of this game real quick, but it was an ugly game in the second half.
Very, very, very ugly. And for a while, it looked like it was going to be close, of course, in that first quarter, but then it just got uglier and uglier and uglier. And I could tell just even from the beginning, even though the Miami Heat had their moments in the first half where it looked like they were going to take the lead or come back or something like that, I could just tell San Antonio had more energy, they had more hustle. Miami just looked flat from start to finish. I could tell that just from looking at the looks of this game that the Spurs were set to win this thing. But if you told me before this game that the San Antonio Spurs were going to win this thing by a blowout, 36 points, I would have laughed at whoever that person was going to say that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And the fact that they won this game by 36 points, they won by more points than Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker had combined. They combined at 25 points tonight, and the Spurs are able to go well over 100 and win this game by 36 points. An absolutely amazing feat. In the first quarter, like you mentioned, it wasn't a bad game. LeBron started slow. He didn't have the ball in his hand, wasn't taking shots. Chris Bosh's shot was off early, and Duncan and Manu looked pretty good in the first quarter. I think Kawhi Leonard was doing a very good job on LeBron. And I think the one weakness we see in the Spurs defense is if the Heat are able to get Kawhi Leonard into foul trouble, Danny Green on LeBron James in the post is a mismatch. Unfortunately, that didn't happen enough in this game for it to really matter. Even though Leonard drew an early second foul in the second quarter, LeBron was getting into the paint, making a conscious effort to get into the paint. But once he got there, he had no control. He was just throwing up shots. He was losing the ball. It was ugly. I mean, people talk about how LeBron James has this great post game, and no, he really doesn't. He has added the ability to go into the post, but it is still really raw and something that he needs to continue to work on. The Heat were down by 11 in the second quarter. They called a timeout. They went on a 12-1 run to tie the game at 44, and at that point it really felt like there was going to be a game, and then Tony Parker hits a three falling out of bounds. Gary Neal hits another three, and Gary Neal had a huge performance tonight. At the half, the Spurs go up 50-44, and I think in the third quarter, the Heat came out and no one wanted to shoot. LeBron James had been dared to shoot this entire game, and he was awful shooting, and then Dwayne Wade didn't seem like he wanted much to do with shooting, so the Heat are passing the ball around, and with the exception of Mike Miller on this team tonight, Chris Bosh wasn't hitting shots, Mario Chalmers wasn't hitting shots. There really didn't seem like anyone really wanted to be the guy to shoot the ball because no one was making it. And the Spurs' momentum from that second quarter, it carried over. They were out hustling the Heat, as you mentioned. And despite Mike Miller feeling it, the lead got to as much as 20 before LeBron James scored 9 straight to end the third quarter, and the Spurs were only up by 14. The problem is that the Spurs went on a 13-0 run, which pretty much ended the game in the fourth quarter, sparked by Gary Neal, who had 24 points tonight. It was a career night for him, and then unfortunately he's going to be overshadowed by Danny Green, who I don't think I've ever seen someone shoot that way from beyond the arc, where everything he's taking is just going in the way it did tonight. But needless to say, the Spurs get a 113-77 win tonight, and they absolutely dominated today. And the scary thing is, they dominated without Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili doing much of anything scoring-wise.
Like you said, that was, great point about how Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili for all of them. I mean, Duncan had 12, Parker with 6, and like I said, Duncan and Ginobili kind of set the tone a little bit earlier in the game in the first quarter. But like you said, it was all about Danny Green and Gary Neal tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. And going back to what you said a little bit earlier about the Miami Heat, the only time where we really saw LeBron James do good was when was win at the end of that third quarter when he scored those 9 straight points. Other than that, he was 7 of 21, only had 15 points. Like you said, Dwayne Wade, 16 points was the Miami Heat's leading scorer. Mario Chalmers, nothing from him. Chris Bosh, not much from him, like you said. But it was just a beat down from start to finish by the San Antonio Spurs in an emphatic way to respond after getting blown out themselves in Game 2 in Miami.
Yeah, and you saw at the end of this game, Eric Spoelstra just kind of had his hand covering his face because he has been, I don't want to say even out-coached by Greg Popovich, but he has. The problem is that there's nothing Eric Spoelstra can do at this point to fix it. The Spurs have clogged the lane and not allowed LeBron and Dwayne Wade to get to the rim. And Eric Spoelstra can't go out there and make LeBron James and Dwayne Wade make shots. I have never given Eric Spoelstra a ton of credit when LeBron and Wade led the Heat to the finals. The last 2 years they made the appearance, and then last year they won. And I'm not going to kill him here because I think that at the end of the day, LeBron James specifically and Dwayne Wade can be mixed in there too. They need to start hitting jump shots so the Spurs even have a reason to step out there and cover them.
But right, I agree. I mean, and you look forward to how the Miami Heat are going to be able to respond in Game 4. Game 4 is now a must-win for the Miami Heat because if they go down 3-1 to this San Antonio Spurs team, given their experience and given their ability to close out series, if they go down 3-1 this upcoming Thursday night, this series is as good as over. You might as well just give the San Antonio Spurs their 5th ring if they win this Game 4 coming up on Thursday night. I want to see how the Miami Heat are able to respond after getting blown out like this. This may be a case where we may have to actually say where LeBron may need to go off for 30 points or 40 points or something like that just to get Miami back in this series because right now, I mean, we saw how the AT&T Center in San Antonio looked like. It looked like the Spurs had won the championship. It was that raucous and it was that loud, even though given the fact that also the San Antonio Spurs they haven't played a game in San Antonio in 3 weeks, and the fans were jacked up to see them. But then putting up this kind of performance, you may have to say that this upcoming Game 4 may be the kind of game where LeBron may have to put up 30 or 40 points to get Miami back into this. Because right now, all the momentum is on San Antonio's side, and all the pressure right now is on Miami to at least keep this series alive.
And Akeem, I know that a lot of people throughout the course of this series have, in a lot of ways, tried to defend LeBron James and say that even though he's not scoring a ridiculous amount, look at the passes he's making, look at the screens he's setting, and I don't really think his defense has been all that great, but he's still pulling down some rebounds. I asked this question, or I talked about this 2 years ago, at the same exact time about was LeBron James choking in the NBA Finals. And I understand that he's doing some other things great, but the bottom line is that he's averaging like 15 points through the first 3 games in the NBA Finals. I'm not ready to say that he's choked, but I'm putting the choke watch out there.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, you could say that LeBron choked prior to last year when he finally won his first championship. You could say that he choked in 2011. Everybody's already saying, oh, this is the 2011 LeBron James, he's back. But I'm not going to say that yet until we see for sure what's going to happen as far as the rest of this series. I'm not ready to, like you said, I'm not ready to put that tag on him, yet. But the way this series is gone so far, even in the Game 2 blowout, it was not exactly what we expect from most of them. For most of these games, but while LeBron James has also struggled, like you said earlier, give credit to the San Antonio Spurs defense. Kawhi Leonard has played excellent defense on LeBron, and when the matchup has all of a sudden become Danny Green on LeBron James, all of a sudden that's when LeBron James has the advantage. But also, not only has LeBron James struggled, but also give credit to Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs defense, and especially Kawhi Leonard, because he has played excellent defense on LeBron James so far this series.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing that's going to be left out. Is the bottom line, the Spurs have made a tremendous game plan to stop both LeBron James and Dwayne Wade by not allowing them to get to the rim, and we're seeing Chris Bosh be absolutely destroyed on on the boards by Tiago Splitter and Tim Duncan, but in the end, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade are getting space. They're getting ample space to take jumpers and hit them, and while, especially in the case of Dwayne Wade, we don't think of either of these guys as pure shooters, they need to step up and they need to hit some of these jump shots. I think that coming out in Game 4, the thing that I would do is put the ball in LeBron James' hands. And I've been saying that this entire series. I think that the Heat put the ball back in Dwayne Wade's hands for Game 7. It worked in Game 7, and they've tried to continue. It's a different series against a different team. The ball needs to go back into the hands of LeBron James. You need to get him started early and in a groove in Game 4 because, like you said, he may need to go off for 35-40 because the way that the Heat are playing right now, there's not a ton happening with this team. I don't even know how else to put it because it feels like Dwayne Wade is getting in LeBron James' way, and really it may also be LeBron James getting in Dwayne Wade's way too. But last year we saw Dwayne Wade kind of step aside and say, LeBron, this is your time, and it feels like Dwayne Wade stepped back in and wants more ball time and wants to be a superstar again, and that's just not a formula that's going to win them this series.
That's been a problem even when this big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, that was a concern that a lot of people had. Whose team was it going to really be? Was it going to be Dwayne Wade's team? Was it going to be LeBron James' team? We saw last year when the Heat won the championship, we saw that it looked like it was shifting more and more and more towards LeBron James' team, and that Dwayne Wade was kind of comfortable with being that secondary guy to LeBron James. But it seems like it's back all over again, just like you said. And, for the Miami Heat, they are going to have to establish LeBron James early. LeBron James is going to have to be established early in Game 4 because, like I said earlier, Thursday night is the Miami Heat season. If they don't win in San Antonio on Thursday night, this series is as good as over.
There's no question about it. Guys, crazy Game 4 where the San Antonio Spurs really come out and they make a statement with a 36-point win. Now, that number might be a little bit inflated, but I think it drives home the point of this game that the San Antonio Spurs walked all over the Miami Heat in Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Game 4 Thursday night, as Akeem put it, the Heat's season is on the line and the Spurs could put themselves within a game of getting the 5th ring of the Duncan Popovich era. Check out section215.com, facebook.com/therealsportstalk, youtube.com/Mr. Kelstar. Hit us both up on Twitter at CashKelly_TRST. It's Cash Kelly with a K. And then LI495 Akeem hit him up as well. So we will catch you guys next time.